The space station gate hovered on the edge of the Orion drift like a wounded bird, its massive rings cracked and groaning under pressures that no creature alive should endure. Inside, thousands of beings moved through corridors lined with glowing panels, alarms whispering rather than screaming, but still carrying the message that the core was failing. Fear ran like electricity through the veins of the station, touching every life. Commander of the stood on the central command deck, her 4 eyes scanning the main projection. Numbers and symbols flashed in warning red. Each pulse felt like the heartbeat of the station itself, slow, strained, desperate. "Report," she demanded, her claws clicking on the floor. Her voice was calm, but inside her pulse thudded like a drum. Chief Engineer, a bulky creature with scaled skin and segmented limbs, lowered his head. "Containment is collapsing. The quantum core is tearing itself apart. Automatic stabilization systems failed. All emergency protocols have been." "How long?" Lyra asked, her voice quiet, almost too quiet. 17 minutes, said, maybe less. The whisper of the alarm deepened. Engineers and medics froze, uncertainty and terror reflected in eyes of every species. Some had never faced real death before. Others had, but never like this. The command doors hissed and opened, letting in a human. Elias Ward stepped in quietly, almost unnoticed, despite the chaos. He was young, perhaps barely 30, wearing a simple engineering jacket streaked with coolant and grease. His hair stuck to his forehead from sweat. His hands were calloused from work, but not from battle. He looked too small for this moment, too calm. "Commander Lyra," he said, voice low but firm. "I need access to the core chamber controls, now." She turned sharply. "No." Elias blinked. "I didn't even explain yet." "I already know what you're thinking," she said, "and the answer is no." Humans were rare in the coalition. They were considered fragile, short-lived, and unpredictable. Lyra had been taught to admire their ingenuity, but also to fear their recklessness. A human in this room meant two things, either disaster or the impossible. "The core requires a living anchor," Elias said calmly. "Someone inside the chamber to manually stabilize it. Without it, the station fails." "That chamber is lethal," she spat, almost unable to believe he considered it. "Radiation, gravity shear, temporal distortion. No species survives longer than 6 minutes inside." "6 minutes," Elias said softly. "I know." Silence swallowed the room. "You would die," she said again, her voice steadier than she felt. "Yes." Lyra's claws flexed. "You are only one life, one fragile human life. You cannot, will not be allowed to do this." Elias did not flinch. He did not plead. He only nodded. "There are 12,000 souls on this station," she continued, her voice almost a growl now. "Delegations, families, children, refugees, entire species depending on us. Are you aware of what you are risking?" "I am," he said. She froze. His calm acceptance was unnerving. She searched his face, hopping for fear, for hesitation. There was none, only a quiet sorrow, a sense of inevitability, and impossibly a strange kind of courage. "You humans are illogical," she muttered, more to herself than him. Elias smiled faintly. "We hear that a lot." The station trembled, lights flickered, the core warning pulsed brighter, 15 minutes remained. Lyra activated a private channel to her officers. "You do not authorize this. A human cannot make this decision." "Then authorize me," Elias said. "Or stop me. Either way, the numbers don't change. The physics won't bend because we are afraid." She turned away, forcing her trembling limbs to move. Commanders do not beg. Commanders do not plead. But this was not war. This was life and death, the kind of choice no strategy manual could prepare you for. "There must be another way," she whispered. "We can seal the station, evacuate what we can, sacrifice the outer rings, the non-essential modules. Someone else can stay." Elias shook his head. "No, if someone else stays, they won't survive the initial surge. I can do it, I will do it, and I can save everyone else." Her voice cracked. "Back home, do you have families?" He looked at her, expression unreadable. "Yes, and they taught me the same thing everyone here must now understand. Sometimes, if saving the many means losing one, you must be that one." The floor vibrated beneath their feet as if the station itself were groaning in agony. 14 minutes. Lyra moved closer. She grabbed his arm. His skin was warm and soft. She looked into his eyes, hoping to see fear, a human flaw she could exploit. But there was none. Only calm, resolve, and something that burned inside her chest like fire. A recognition of courage she had never felt before. "I forbid you," she said, her claws tightening. "As commander of this station, I will not allow it." Elias gently his arm, placing it back at her side. "Commander, if you stop me, I won't fight you, but I will keep walking toward the core. I know the risk, and I accept it." Her throat tightened. The fear she had fought to hide threatened to choke her. Duty, she realized, was not a strategy. It was choice, and this human had chosen. He stepped toward the corridor leading to the core chamber. Engineers instinctively cleared the path. Guards lowered their weapons, understanding instinctively the meaning of this human's courage. Even Lyra's fellow officers stood silent, unwilling to speak or intervene. Something ancient in their species recognized the gravity of the moment. Lyra followed him, clawed hands trembling. "If you do this," she whispered, voice breaking, "history will forget your name." Elias paused at the door. "That's okay," he said softly. Just tell me it will work," she said. Her voice was barely audible over the soft hum of the station's failing systems. "It will," he promised. "I can't guarantee I'll survive, but I can guarantee it will hold long enough for everyone else to escape." The door hissed open. Light poured from the chamber, bright and almost violent, like a star about to be born. Heat radiated through the corridor. Energy arcs danced along the floor. 12 minutes. Lyra stepped closer to the edge of the chamber, feeling a chill she could not explain. This human, so fragile, so mortal, walked calmly into the eye of death, and she could do nothing. Not orders, not threats, not the weight of her authority. Nothing could stop him except his own choice. Elias moved to the center of the chamber. The core's unstable energy swirled around him. Holographic readouts showed the quantum flux rising to impossible levels. The interface glowed a deep, pulsing red. "Manual stabilization required. Warning, operator will not exit." He touched the console, and a wave of energy rippled around him, brushing against him like wind over water. He smiled faintly, not bravely, not proudly, just softly, almost as if he were acknowledging the inevitability of what he had chosen. Lyra's voice broke. "Elias, look at me." He did. His eyes were warm and steady, even as the energy swirled dangerously around him. "Thank you," he said, "for trying to stop me." She fought back tears. "You don't have to do this." "I do," he replied simply. "Someone has to hold the door. I chose to be that person." The lights flickered violently. Gravity in the chamber pulsed, then stabilized. Elias moved his hands over the interface with fluid motions, grounding the chaos around him like a calm eye in a hurricane. The station's structure groaned but held. 11 minutes. Outside the chamber, Lyra and the crew watched, frozen, as the human completed the impossible. Around him, arcs of energy painted the chamber in white and gold. Around them, fear gave way to awe. "Will he survive?" whispered one young engineer. Lyra did not answer. She could not. She only watched as the man they had all dismissed, feared, and underestimated became the singular anchor between life and total destruction. 10 minutes. Somewhere deep in the chamber, Elias exhaled slowly, a small, human sound. The choice had been made. The risk accepted. The station's fate rested in the courage of one fragile human being. For the first time in her long career, Lyra realized the truth about humans. They were small. They were mortal. They were fragile. But when they chose to act, when they chose selflessness, their courage was a force that could not be measured, contained, or predicted. And now, for 12,000 lives, it was all that stood between survival and annihilation.